Hello fellow YouTubers, this is another edition of TW Wrestling Talk, talking about the most recent episode of Raw, the final Raw for SummerSlam, and the SmackDown before that. I'm going to talk about some of the events in the past week of WWE programming. First being the canceling of, indefinite canceling of Alberto Del Rio against Sheamus for the World Heavyweight Championship. We saw on SmackDown last week what went down between Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio. They were, supposed to have a, world championship match in the main event. Sheamus, he opted to have just fight then, after Alberto came out, and tension built up once again between the two, and they were supposed to have this world championship match to close SmackDown. And what happened is Del Rio had these guards come out, I guess, phony guards, and they started attacking Sheamus, and eventually Alberto Del Rio got a piece of Sheamus with the help of his manager Ricardo, of course, and he put his arm lock on him and everything as usual, which was disappointing. I thought we were going to see a good, maybe, by SmackDown standards, a good main event to close the show for the World Championship. Even though they were set to face each other at SummerSlam anyways. So on Monday Night Raw, they showed a little WWE exclusive clip of Booker T backstage, sort of losing his mind over what happened, and essentially, he canceled the match between Del Rio and Sheamus for SummerSlam. So, my thoughts on this, first of all, this isn't definite that the match will be canceled. Something could happen on SmackDown later this week when Del Rio addresses Booker T. Something could happen, and maybe the match will be put back on again at SummerSlam. But if Sheamus doesn't face Del Rio, that doesn't bother me at all, as long as they find someone else to face Sheamus. Personally, I think there's a lot better choices out there of opponents for Sheamus than Del Rio. Ziggler, we're gonna wait for him to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. I guess they're just using Del Rio for now to kind of fill time, and Sheamus could be having more worthwhile feuds with other people than Del Rio. But I guess we'll see. I have a feeling that something could reverse, Booker T's intent on not having this match go forward. Maybe we'll see someone else get put in, but I could see something reversing the decision. They're not just gonna not have Sheamus compete at SummerSlam to defend his title. So I guess we'll see. In some form, I'd rather Sheamus defend his title than not at all. Obviously, you're gonna have him face somebody, but if they had someone, better than Del Rio, that'd be cool. To me, they have other options than Del Rio once again. But I guess we'll wait and see what goes down on SmackDown and see if Booker T's decision stands. Other than that, we have the WWE Championship picture. We have the triple threat match coming up. What went down on Raw? It was a little was a little confusing the way Raw began. I mean, typically they don't begin with, a match. There's nothing wrong with it, but the match that they had together, CM Punk versus Big Show, it just seemed like, why are they having this match? You'd wonder, what about Cena? And it didn't make sense. I figured, something was gonna happen. And of course, Daniel Bryan interfered, and John Cena came out, and then they just made the tag match. And anyways, in the beginning, I don't think they had to, make a match. They didn't have to make things, make Big Show and CM Punk apparently go toe to toe against each other. When, they were just gonna have a tag match later on anyways. I think they could have just, why didn't they just put together the tag match? The beginning kind of, confused me a little. It was different, but it wasn't a good kind of different. Just kind of it was a little confusing, and Daniel Bryan coming out. Kane wasn't present at this Raw, so I mean, but I guess they figured they wanted to do something with Daniel Bryan. And Orton, of course, I was surprised he wasn't at last week's SmackDown, nor was he at this Raw. So, I guess they're just waiting, to see what they're gonna do with him, maybe after SummerSlam, since he came back and they don't really have a clear story for him. But tag match, they put Cena and CM Punk on the same team. CM Punk tonight resembled more of a tweener. He was putting a match against Big Show. Big Show is, basically no matter what, a heel at this point. So him being booked against CM Punk, CM Punk being kind of a tweener, he was more of a face in that match, but it certainly didn't hold up, since they were gonna have a tag match later anyways. Of course, in that tag match, as we figured, Cena and CM Punk, they weren't totally on the same page. I mean, they're going to be opponents at SummerSlam, so it was only suiting that they, didn't totally get along. That they, it was a little different when they kind of mocked each other's move. I liked how CM Punk, kind of mocked, the beginning of Cena's, chain moves of doom, as some people want to call them. I thought that was pretty cool. And then, of course, Cena tried to fire back and mimic some of CM Punk stuff, and then CM Punk walked out of the ring, kind of like Big Show, kind of just sat off on the side, with Daniel Bryan just unexpectedly tagging himself in. And CM Punk kind of did the same to Cena. He tagged Cena and, in silly ways, and Cena just kind of kept it cool, whatever. And, it was an average match, I guess, but, nothing special. I mean, it was really just to kind of fill the card. In this episode of Raw, it didn't build any more tension really than there already has been. And after the match, CM Punk was coming back in the ring. He tried to shake Cena's hand, but Cena didn't shake his hand. CM Punk kind of walked off a little, and then Big Show came in, tried to take Cena out, but from behind, CM Punk, basically comes up against Big Show with the belt, and he's looking at John Cena as if he was going to hit him with the belt if Cena tried to mess with him. So it was a little interesting. Big Show the week before was the one standing tall, This week it's kind of, a little more down the middle, I guess, sort of in a way. Although Big Show did get hit by the belt, as I said. So from here we have the match at SummerSlam. The interesting thing about this triple threat is, at least in my opinion, I don't see there being a clear-cut winner from this point. Big Show, I think, is the least likely to win it. Although, to me, you never know. What if WWE throws a curveball? What if Big Show, just to kind of be unpredictable. Sometimes WWE is unpredictable, and and for the better. I was thinking of possible scenarios, and Big Show. What if he won the match at SummerSlam, which I would be perfectly fine with. What if he had like a not a decent, long title reign, but maybe for a few months, and then a few months from now, in time for the Royal Rumble, perhaps CM Punk gets the title back to kind of move forward with this feud that he was expected to have with The Rock. He's expected to have the title at the Royal Rumble. That's kind of the general belief at this point. But his reign's been pretty long. What if, just to mix it up a little more, they have Big Show win, and then CM Punk gets it back in a few months. The only problem with that scenario is, he's a tweener, and it would just seem awkward if he was kind of like a face again when he tried, if he would try to get back his title. When he feuds with The Rock, he's going to kind of go back more to his evil side, I guess you could say. That's the only problem with that scenario, but I do think in some way Big Show deserves a WWE Championship run, sometime soon, to kind of make his heel turn more valid. That came a few months ago. I was excited when he turned heel, and I really liked what I've seen from Big Show, especially when when he was kind of the main focus, because Cena was his rival. But from here they could also have this, if CM Punk retains, Cena and Big Show can maybe continue to feud a little more, which I wouldn't mind. But I think Big Show is definitely due for a pay-per-view victory to validate, his heel turn from a few months ago, and not just make it for nothing. Not just that he looks strong on Raw, for the most part every week, but then at pay-per-views he just loses at every pay-per-view. Doesn't win anything at every pay-per-view. Doesn't win any big ones, like they say Jericho hasn't lately. I don't want that to be the case with Big Show. I think they should do a little more with Big Show. He's not going to be around forever. Maybe give him at least a good WWE Championship run or something. Doesn't have to be as long as CM Punk's reign, but just for a few months it would be cool to see Big Show as champion. I think. At least they can do it, I think, is have Big Show win. I like what he's been doing in recent months. I love when he spears guys and such. And I think he's overlooked in general. That's just my opinion. But they could maybe stretch out the Cena and Big Show feud if CM Punk wins, which I'm thinking is most likely that CM Punk wins, although there's still no real clear-cut winner. But it's just my gut feeling says CM Punk is going to win. It's most likely. That's just me. I mean, Cena could win, but I don't know if that would make total sense. I mean, he's good. If he was champion, the question is, how would he be champion long enough until the Royal Rumble, where he then basically, essentially, have another match with The Rock. I mean, they could do that logically. It would make sense, but I don't know if WWE wants to, do that. He had that big match with The Rock at WrestleMania, but to use Rock to do his next singles match and have it again against John Cena, I don't know about that. I think the objective is to kind of use Rock to kind of face. Well, John Cena is often considered the number one guy in the superstar of the company. And I think logically they're gonna kind of have Rock go down the list a little bit. And CM Punk is often considered the number 2 guy. So logically, CM Punk would probably be his next big opponent. Kind of help him get more attention, get him over a little more, I guess, or whatever, however you want to put it. He could maybe face CM Punk, and then maybe after that, whoever could maybe be the number 3 guy. But my theory is, if they have Rock win at Royal Rumble, if it's against CM Punk, say, most likely, the question is, where do they go from there? Do they, depending on The Rock's movie schedule as well, if The Rock did win at the Royal Rumble, would they have The Rock maybe defend it, the next month? Or, because it has to kind of follow WWE's guidelines if it's going to have a reign. If it's a month or longer, not just like a couple weeks or something. But if they have him, say they have him face CM Punk and they have a rematch, you wonder, would it be at, Elimination Chamber, or would it somehow get pushed back to WrestleMania? Would they have two, would him clash would The Rock clash with CM Punk twice? That's a question that's on my mind, and there's just so many different possible scenarios, it seems, between who he could face, when he could face, then how many times he could face it. But most likely he's going to face CM Punk next at the Royal Rumble. Most likely that's going to be his next match, and then CM Punk for the WWE Championship. And, do they have Rock win? Do they have Rock lose? Etc. There's a lot that can go on. Just like, this SummerSlam pay-per-view match here could say a lot too. Have a lot of, versus if CM Punk doesn't win. I mean, if Big Show wins, does he, CM Punk, because, logically, he's not, Big Show's not going to face The Rock at Royal Rumble, logically, of those 3. He would be the least likely to face The Rock at Royal Rumble. Most likely it would be CM Punk, but, again, how do they do this? Maybe make it less predictable. If he's going to face CM Punk at Royal Rumble, maybe do it in an interesting way. And that's what, in a little more unpredictable way. And that's why I'm saying if there'd be an advantage if they maybe if Big Show unexpectedly wins the belt just for a few months, and then maybe CM Punk gets it back in December or November, and then maybe that would set it up, that would leave a little more time to set up for The Rock and CM Punk at Royal Rumble, and at the same time make it a little less predictable. That's just my thoughts on that. Point is, we just gotta wait and see what happens with the match. Looking forward to it. SummerSlam does have, several decent matches lined up. And this definitely being one of them. Probably the one I'm looking most forward to next to Brock Lesnar and Triple H, which is what I'm talking about now. Kind of raised all the questions with the WWE Championship match.